there's St. Aldrich of the Deep. And, you know, from Soft Humor, he turns out to be this massive dude. And we have some other old friends here. If I can go there, over here. We have this merchant lady who will match through her dialogue.
A pleasure to make that I am but a humble handmaid of the shrine. Weapons, armor, trinkets, and spells. I've lots of little things to ease the burden of a weary traveler. And yes, I'm undead too, but not so charitable as to give my goods away. Ashen One, fetch souls and bring them to me. As is thy wont? No?
So Miss Capitalist over here, the shrine handmaid, appears to consolidate all the merchants into one, which is kind of convenient. The one thing we do want is this white sewn soapstone, so we will. I also found this out, which is nice. You can just sell your souls directly from here. So we'll do that, which then allows us to get the white sewn soapstone. We could also get that. But we'll get that later on. So this increases the amount of multiplayer that is going on. And it looks like it increases your matchmaking for being invaded. So interesting. So this is the description for the Ember. This is another thing I want you folks to tell me if you want me to read the descriptions or not. So I know that, I don't know, you may just have this on while you're doing something else. Or just go and just listen to me yak. As I have no problem reading these aloud. I do like to read them as soon as I get a chance of new items, because it's, you know, that's how you figure out the lore in Souls games. Yeah, the Ember is the Stone Ephemeral Eyes Humanity effigy thing. This lets us basically make multiplayer happen. It gives us lots of HP. And Repair Powder, durability is Dark Souls 2. So, durability is kind of low, but it replenishes whenever you get to a bonfire. But at least then you don't have to just spend lots of souls constantly, or barely any amount of souls to just repair your stuff. And Purple Moss, our good friend. We'll see if Blighttown / Valley Defilement make a reappearance. These are our medieval grenades, firebombs, prism stones. And then those are, we'll see if those end up being useful. In some areas, like if it's the Crystal Caverns from Dark Souls 1, very much so. Homeward Bones, we'll see if we get an Aged Feather from Dark Souls 2, which makes things obsolete. Yeah, undead just like to be burnt, apparently. Now that tower that we saw apparently goes to the bell tower. Grave of Five Keepers Past. Who apparently becomes a dark soul through and through. So that's 20,000 souls. We're not going to be getting that anytime through. I wonder if that's the only way to get there. I'm sure there's a way you can go around. Solar, which we're not going to use. I'm not a big fan of spells. Fairies like soul darts. What is the difference between those? Okay, so it's just a little bit, probably less damage and less FP, but it does not require as much intelligence. And we already have this, which apparently the Way of White is tolerating our little faith. So I'll just kind of stop bothering us. Here's a spell. So daggers, which are usually really good at backstabbing people. Short sword. So yeah, these skills are a whole different edition of the game, so I'm checking out what those are, because I'm sure people will be using them on us, both you know, just mob enemies and other players. So apparently you can use different arts, which is interesting. Halberd. So this is interesting. Miracles tend to be a death sentence if used in the middle of battle, but I wonder if that unfaltering prayer makes it actually possible to get a heal off. Be interesting. And she also has shields, but none of them are quite as good as the one we have. We'll read about them anyway. Blood of Warriors. So add some Dark Souls 2. The Monk of the Warrior. And this apparently is interesting. Lets us do things besides parry. So interesting. It looks like that's what that icon is. Lets us know if they parry or whatnot. Fortunately, it doesn't quite compare to what we're using, which kind of sucks. But I like to be completionist. We'll get this anyway. And I bet that's probably what the warriors or soldiers, whatever that class is, probably what they start off with. And then that's about all she has.
Ashen one, if my wares are not to thy satisfaction, bring me umbral ash. With ash, I'll fashion new wares. Is it not our sorry fate to sup on death?
So yeah, apparently.
Be sure to bring more souls.
Apparently she upgrades her merchandise if you bring her those umbral ashes. We'll figure out where the heck they do. And we have our old friend Andra here from Dark Souls 1. Still hammering away at the same sword.
Well, a newcomer, I see.
Try not to
I
go
am
hard.
Andre. I serve at this shrine.
Andre of a
As a
storm.
humble smith, forging weapons. You're in search of the Lords of Cinder, I trust.
Yep,
A toilsome journey, I'd wager. You'll require good arms.
indeed.
Let me smith you weapons.
I think you
I am a
can.
smith, such is my purpose.
Alright, so we can reinforce if we had a little bit more souls, but I'm probably not this first spear. I'm going to wait until I find a winged spear. Then I'll probably give that a few shots. So apparently there's no point to upgrading these things. So I really don't want to punch through with them. I just want to do the spell buff. Ooh, and let's see. So it is going to be worthwhile to upgrade shields in this, just because they give you good stability. So once we get some shields, we'll start figuring out which one has the best stats, and we'll start upgrading that. But it's probably not a bad idea to start working on that. So we have infusions, and we start off with a few, which is we start off with refined, fire, and raw. Fire is pretty self-explanatory, gives you fire damage, and then also, but it removes your skill scaling, so that lets you use your have your stats and other things like faith or intelligence, so you don't have to worry about strength or dex. Though you still obviously need 11 strength and 10 dex, just the minimum prerequisites. Raw, it's kind of the same thing. It just increases the base damage of it while removing that. What does refined do? Refined. Okay, so refined appears to, I believe this is similar to a quality from Demon Souls, or yeah, I don't think it was in Dark Souls 1 or 2. It's gonna equalize the scaling, so from D strength it'll go to C, and then equalize that so it doesn't favor Dex more. And then it also looks like it reduces its base damage just a little bit. So probably not gonna do that. We may have some elemental weapons just because it's nice. Some enemies are vulnerable to others. In particular, lightning tends to be good on armored stuff. So chances are, if the game doesn't give us one, we'll probably get some sort of spear, pole weapon that has lightning damage to it. This thrust usually works well on armor and scales. Fire tends to be good against undead, along with blunt, which is strike damage, so we'll probably get a mace at some point that has fire in it. And then we'll go from there, see what kind of weapons we lack. And we'll see. I played Dark Souls 2 with lances. I have mixed feelings about them. I guess they're really heavy on the stamina usage, and I didn't quite like the moveset as much. I actually should have just gone with spears, but I did also have a great shield the whole time. So we'll see which one I like more in this. And he also repairs it if you manage to break your stuff. This is kind of cool. It lets you determine which one you want more of. But we will keep one just in case, but that's just going to be more useful for us. He also reinforces if you have shards, and he's just going to tell us all that now.
Weapons and protection are sturdy enough by and large, but when overused, they'll eventually break. When their durability is low, repair becomes a necessity. Use a powder, or simply rest at a bonfire. But should chance impel them break, bring them me. I'll hammer them back into shape. They take no pleasure in breaking, I assure you.
So your weapons
handle them with care, if you would.
are these inanimate objects, in fact, animate objects.
There are two ways to smith weapons.
So that's going to tell us we can reinforce them.
Reinforcement is one,
Yeah.
and infusion the other. Reinforcement is straightforward. It strengthens a weapon without altering its property.
Probably going to do that.
Infusion is a more advanced form of smithing that infuses an element. Reinforcement requires titanite, and infusion requires gems. Bring the stones, and I'll do the smithing. It's my purpose, after all. In battle, your weapons are your only friends. Forge them well, and they won't let you down.
Hurrah.
Another matter.
And Andres is very
Infusing
talkative.
weapons with gems requires a special kind of coal.
So everyone keep our eyes out for coal.
Won't be
Do
any
more
use
infusions.
infusing more unusual gems. I know, it's an awful shame, but it's all I have. Oh, please don't give me that look.
Yeah, this look.
Believe
Come
it
on,
or
man.
not, I'm quite thin-skinned.
Alright, we won't badmouth you then, Andre.
Oh, by the way, if you find any Estus shards, bring them here. They can be used to reinforce either of your Estus flasks. Without those flasks, you want for life or focus. And they'll always stay with you. Why not treat them well?
So yeah, some of the Dark Souls 2, rather than the really kind of unintuitive, like I had to look up how it worked in Dark Souls 1, you get more flask shards, you get more flasks, straightforward enough.
Weapons and women,
Okay.
but
That's all.
I hate so.
Andre has to say.
Pretty be careful.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't want to see my work squandered.
But yeah, Souls games just kind of want you to take them slow and take it all in, and the way the characters talk too kind of reinforces that. It's very pondering, and it's alright because it lets me make quips in between all their yakking. We'll see if people like that or not. No, hey, that person looked like they had a pie on their head. Well, enough of that. Let's embed the coiled sword. We could go into Lothric. And I have no idea what the Undead Bone Shard does. I believe it's going to increase the amount of flasks. That would be my guess. So, attunement. Can also do this. Which is nice, we can just access that from the bonfire. And let's just go ahead, since we're never going to use that, just throw that in there. May use that, we'll see. But yeah, let's go ahead and travel to Lothric. And once this loads in, we'll call it a day.